Welcome in episode 12 of Bullseye. Guys, I can't believe how fast this season went by. Episode 12 already, that's wild to me. We have an awesome special co-host today because I feel like
Where am I?
we got the wonderful Joey Johnston with
legend.
us. I feel like at this point we're playing a little game like where in the country is Derek, this week sort of thing. But I think he's either with volleyball or basketball at this point.
Both.
Just
not
crazy
at the same
going
time,
around,
but he's a traveling
so
man.
we have an awesome co-host with us today and happy to have you here.
Yeah,
we
thank
have
you.
a fun show. We have a bowl show. The Bulls are going bowling, guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
I'm still living off a high from the last game, honestly. I talked to Dono and Byram after the game and feeling their excitement, and seeing them so happy, the smiles on their faces, it was so special, and I still see that in my head over and again, and I'm still living off of it. So I'm pumped all week, and until we get to Boca, I'm so excited. But what were your guys' thoughts on the win? Because I know you're down there beside me.
Yeah, I was doing the radio, and I spoke to Donovan Jennings as well, and I could see the excitement in his eyes, and he was talking to his people, his friends and family in the stands, and he just, kind of said, what do you think? And he goes, we're going bowling, baby! And, as people probably know by now, Donovan Jennings has accepted a bid to the Senior Bowl, which is a huge, huge deal.
Incredible.
That's the cream of the crop for draft-eligible players. So good on Dono, and I know you've got a feature coming up on Dono later in this show, so we'll explore more about who Donovan Jennings is.
Right, totally. I was able to talk to his parents and spend some time with them at the game, and talked to 5 of his fellow linemen and Byram in the week previous, and just their thoughts on him and his impact on the program and the team. And I mean, he's such a special guy. He is so beloved by everybody. I mean, he's been here for so long. His freshman year, he was at a bowl game, 2018, and so for it to come full circle for him is pretty cool. So senior day was special for me. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little emotional. Senior day ceremony.
It's hard not to get emotional on senior day.
And then the bowl win, I'm like, Caylee, get it together. But what about you? Where were you during the game? What were your thoughts?
So I was in the box, making sure our donors, were happy and taken care of. But I do want to mention this about Dono. I think it's really amazing in this day and age when we talk about the transfer portal and NIL and, kids just seeking out other opportunities to get paid. You have a guy who stayed and worked hard and went through it. The hard, the bad, the injuries, the winning, the losing, and he's being rewarded right now. His senior year, he gets a bowl game, and he also gets the invite to the Senior Bowl. So I do think it's a testament to the culture of just continue to stay faithful and work hard, and things will come your way. So I was really happy to hear that about Dono as well. But I mean, the game was amazing. I didn't expect us to put as many points up as we did, and
it was pretty fun, wasn't it?
I think we tried to make a statement.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I mean, and Boca now, I've never been. I've been to Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Haven't made it to Boca. Have you guys?
I have not.
I have for various assignments over the years. Boca is a very nice place to be.
Yeah.
It's not a place where it's a place where you go on vacation. It's a place where people from the north would just dream of going. So I'm sure the Syracuse fans are extremely happy, and hopefully our fans are happy as well.
Yeah.
Because the beach is right down the street.
Complain?
A lot of nice places to eat. A lot of beautiful sunshine. So where we live, actually, we have that in Tampa every day.
Yeah.
But Boca.
I mean, we're a couple weeks into December, and we were just watching practice, and it was like 78, right? So I can't complain.
But I think the good thing is for the fans in the Tampa Bay area or even other parts of the state, it's drivable. It's accessible. So you don't necessarily have to get on a plane to come to the game. So it's very convenient for the fans, and hopefully a lot of green and gold fans will make their way down to Boca Raton and cheer on the Bulls because it's been a 5-year gap, and so it's time to get back in the bowl business. It's very exciting, and let's not forget, if the Bulls can beat Syracuse, they'll finish 7-6 with a winning record, so that's a lot to play for.
That's incredible. Have you talked to any alumni that are going to be there? Or?
Yeah, I'm in about 3 or 4 different group texts with a number of guys.
There we go.
That are all talking about either tailgating or just meeting each other at the game. So. The cool thing is the bowl game's in Florida, and our rosters historically have had a lot of Florida athletes on the team.
True.
So, a lot of guys from Boca live there, and they will be going to the game or in Fort Lauderdale or Miami. So, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
What are your thoughts on the venue, the stadium, the opponent? What are our thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's great that we're playing a team from the ACC because that means a lot to play, just from a prestige standpoint, to play an established team like Syracuse, which honestly, we've played many times. BJ's played in those games. We were once shared a league with Syracuse, so they're not exactly strangers. Haven't played them in 7 years, so we haven't seen this iteration of Syracuse. So I'm very happy with the fact that we're playing a team of that caliber. And it's a great chance to make a statement, to get another win against an ACC team. And as we mentioned before, 7-6 sounds better than 6-6, and certainly 6-7. So let's go for 7-6.
Yep, we love that. What's your take, BJ?
Yeah, like I said, we have some history with Syracuse. We don't know this version, obviously, but excited just to kind of bring that back, that Big East feeling kind of back. I know that's a lot of the positive memories that people remember about South Florida football in that era. So familiar foe, if you will, and excited to have an opportunity to go against them again.
Yeah, I know our guys are so excited. It's been fun to watch them in practice and getting after it. And today we're going to talk to Coach Golesh and also both of our coordinators.
Yep.
So excited for that. Also, Joey and I have a couple features coming up in this episode that we got some top 5 bowl moments in USF history. We did a little countdown.
We
together.
did countdown with and a lot of those moments were involving a lot of great players, familiar names in USF past.
Familiar
one
names.
Of them might
familiar
be
names.
that guy. That guy might be one of them. You'll have to watch.
Maybe a little spot for BJ in there.
We dusted off the archives. We've got some old footage of BJ Daniels, the quarterback, and he made a pretty good play in a bowl game once upon a time.
Yes, he did. I love it. We also did 5 reasons fans should attend the bowl game. The whole week of events and everything exciting leading up to it. So those couple features coming up on this episode, and we're excited to bring it to you. So stay tuned. More Bullseye coming up. As we celebrate our seniors, I'm taking a deeper dive into one of our guys who bleeds green and gold, Donovan Jennings. I'm Caylee Cottrell, your Bulls Insider. Your son has such a rich history with USF. How has it been for you to watch him grow with this program?
It's almost like surreal. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe that I raised a son that's that good and that dedicated to a university. It's just like, I'm just so proud of him. It's been really cool because it's like, I remember his first press conferences and how awkward he seemed in his first press conferences. And, as to now, he's like, like a seasoned vet. He handles himself so well.
When he broke his leg, and I thought, oh my gosh, we have to keep him mentally tough through this, right? It wasn't necessary. He had it. He's like, Mom, I'm going to get better. I'm going to go back. I have just been impressed with him every step of the way. It's his dream, and I love watching his dreams fulfilled.
What's it like playing alongside Dono?
Oh, big Dono, big 73 car. I love playing next to Dono. Not just in football, but as a person. He's a great guy, always brings a smile to my face, not just me, but to the guys in the room. And he also brings like that veteran presence, He knows what he's talking about when it comes to football, so just having him in the room, it's a big boost of energy and also a big boost of knowledge too.
Playing beside Dono, he's a guy, he always keeps the energy high, holds everyone accountable. He makes it fun out here, no matter the kind of day you're having, he's always gonna keep you going and keep you working at your best.
He plays with so much heart. Can you talk about his drive and passion?
Donovan's been like that since he was a little boy. Like, Donovan was always a big little kid, so he'd be around other little smaller kids, and whether they be swimming in the pool or playing baseball, whatever, he always wanted to compete. So it's like, whatever group you put him with, he's always going to compete.
As a tackle, it's nice having someone with so much experience on the other side that I can go and kind of ask questions to and get some guidance. That's the biggest blessing, is just having someone that can give me answers I need.
He's the leader of the group. He has the experience. He has the knowledge. He knows everything. So he keeps the group together, and he's just a great guy all around.
What's your favorite part about watching him play?
That he doesn't get beat. I watched him for 5 years now, and I can never say that I've seen a game where he's been dominated.
Donald's a great mentor. I mean, he's helped me a lot. He's helped me gain a lot of my knowledge about the game, and I love playing next to Donald. He's a good man to play next to. I can't wait to watch him next year in the league.
Dono, man, he's a vet, and he brought me in when I was freshman. He said, "Oh, you can do this." When my first start was, and he was very encouraging. And he's been the same guy since I got here, and his smile just lightens everybody's day. And I like that boy Dono. It's gonna be sad when he goes.
Number 73, Donovan Jennings.
I try not to get, I'm like, don't get emotional trying to think about it, but it's like, it's just, I I'm just very proud of him, very proud of him.
Welcome back to USF Bullseye. Our guest is head coach Alex Golesh. And coach, as the Bulls prepare for Syracuse, you've got recruits on campus watching you practice, a lot of energy around the campus. We all knew the bowl game would mean a lot to this program. Now that you've experienced it, what does it mean that you guys are playing in a bowl game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we get to keep practicing, which has its advantages. And the advantages you mentioned, recruiting. We had 10 official visitors, some unofficial visitors get to watch practice today, actually get to see us work, get to see us coach. I think there's no substitute for that. Certainly the continuous development of our guys in our program. The young guys, we just did a red zone scrimmage out there and with just the young guys. I think that part of it, you get to continue working towards something. And I've always said it, but that's why good teams stay good and bad teams stay bad, is because you're essentially adding another spring ball. And you have the time to actually get guys healthy. You got the time to get guys back in the weight room. You're keeping them here on campus to feed them, train them, like monumental. And then the obvious, that you get to go play one more game and get to go do it in a good location and get to experience some really cool things. Like we've got a whole week planned of cool events, continue to bond as a team, continue to allow recruits to see that bonding. There's so many advantages. And then on the 21st, Thursday night, you're right back on national TV on ESPN and all eyes on you again, which is one more time to get the green and gold on the national stage and have a chance to go win another football game.
Coach, how much carryover is there from the season and what you're doing offensively and defensively into this bowl game? Do you go back to square one and reteach some things? Do you kind of review what you've done throughout the season and try to, okay, we didn't do this that well, we did this well, let's kind of amp that ante in some of these areas? Like, what are you doing to prepare with this bowl game?
Yeah, the schedule, I don't know that it allows you to like super go back and study yourself with we were just talking about the recruiting calendar and all of the stuff that goes with this time of the year. But it certainly allows you've had some things you've practiced maybe that you haven't put on tape yet, right. Where you have a little bit of extended time. Not that I'm throwing a preview that you may see some crazy things, but you got some stuff that you've practiced that you maybe haven't done. You have a little bit more time to think back to, man, like where have we not been good at and focus a little bit there. But more than anything, I think if you try to wholesale change for a bowl game, you're going to get jacked up pretty good. So we got to continue to get really good at what we do, who we are foundationally, both on offense and defense, and continue to work detail, fundamentals, technique. I think that's probably the biggest thing that you're able to do right now is, one, get guys kind of healthy, but two, we've done a bunch of indie. We've had 3 bowl practices, and we've had more individual periods than we've had the entire year to now pull back, not so much scheme, but technique, fundamentals. And what you see as you go through the years, that stuff kind of goes by the wayside a little bit because you're so worried about scheme. And so now to be able to peel it back a little bit and work on us, maybe like an extended bye week is what you feel like.
Yeah.
Coach, when you were hired here about a year ago, everybody knew your reputation, what you did at Tennessee, how good the offense was, and everybody's been curious, what are the Bulls going to look like now? Well, we've had a season. We have Byron Brown throwing for 3,000 yards. You have the all-time leading receiver in Sean Atkins, a lot of offensive positives. How do you evaluate what you have seen from this offense over the course of an entire year? What have you liked? What do you need to get better at?
Yeah, I think foundationally we've established who we are in terms of playing fast, in terms of using the entire width of the field, in terms of we're going to create explosives in the run game and the pass game. So I think we've laid a foundation for certainly how we're going to play football. I think we've established an identity as being a tough, physical offense. Now, in terms of situational football, I think we've got such huge steps to take, and I'm talking red zone. I feel like we fluttered at times, especially as the year's gone on. We've got to go back and figure out what the heck is going on that we're not converting to points as much as we absolutely need to. Some third down things. We've been better on 3rd and long, but on 3rd and medium, we've been one of the worst teams in the country. And you sit here and you're like, how does that happen?
got to be able to go back and watch it, see what people are doing, see are we predictable, and really clean it up. But I think in terms of us, how we play, the fact that we play fast, we run a lot of plays, mechanically, I'm comfortable with where we are. Situational football, which is always a year one mess. I've been through year one in this, and we've got to get better there. And that's going to be a huge, huge, huge point of emphasis this offseason. We got to study ourselves. We got to study other people. We got to figure out why either A, we're not executing, or B, we're just not able to go punch the ball in the red zone. And you talk about frustrating, like been frustrated at times. You know, and the other part of it is the turnovers. We've turned it over more than I certainly feel like I have in the last 10 years. And so why? Why is that happening? And you could blame it. You could say, man, young quarterback. You could say there's so many things you could say. But in reality, the way we're built and the way we're playing, we shouldn't be turning it over like we are. So I take the blame there in terms of we got to coach better. We've got to scheme better. And then we've got to hammer home the importance of it. And again, the excuse is year one. The reality is the standard is to be the best offense in the country. And we are currently 17 spots away from that.
Coach, the bowl game's coming up very soon. Everyone's excited. When do you guys get down there, and what would that week of preparation look like for you guys?
Yeah, so this coming week, Friday is going to be a normal game week Sunday. We'll be here on a normal game week Sunday. We'll have a normal game week Monday here on a Saturday. Sunday we'll be here. We'll have a Tuesday practice, and then we'll get on the buses and head down to Boca. And we've got a full week planned, but we'll start with position meetings like we would on a normal Tuesday. There's a welcome party, and then the guys will be able to have a little bit of time to enjoy being at a bowl game and being with each other. And then Monday we'll wake up and we'll be at Boca High with a Wednesday practice. And then Tuesday will be a Thursday. Wednesday will be a Friday. Mm-hmm. There's some events in there in the afternoon. We've got to continue to prep for the game. Right. And then Thursday will be a Saturday, and we're very much looking at it as a Sunday through Saturday rather than whatever day it actually is. Right. I feel like I'm back in the MAC and it's MACtion. But it's when you sandwich it up with recruiting, there's some obviously schedule things you got to work through, and then signing day is the day before the game. So we'll be at practice as NLIs are coming in, and that's always a bittersweet deal because it's obviously a day to celebrate, but we got to get ready. It's a Friday before a game, and so we've got a recruiting staff that'll handle most of that, and we're fortunate enough that we've got a huge staff that's ready to go.
Coach, last question. You're playing the Syracuse Orange. There was a coaching change. They had an interim head coach for their last game. They hired a new head coach. How do you go about preparing for them with all these changes, and obviously who's going to play, who's not going to play? What's the preparation like with all those moving parts?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. If you got an answer to that, you got to let me know.
I don't. I actually don't.
Yeah, no. The assumption is that the staff that is still finishing out the season is going to coach the game. But your guess is as good as mine with some of that. So we're going to prepare with what we have in terms of the film, and we'll be ready for things as they come up and change. But it certainly creates some unique challenges in that regard.
All right, that's head coach Alex Golesh. We'll be back with more, so stay tuned for USF Bullseye.
All right, Joey, USF has a lot of amazing bowl memories. You've narrowed it down to the top 5 for us, so let's jump right into it. At number 5, what do you got for us?
Well, number 5, we're going to go back to the 2008 St. Petersburg Bowl, and the Bulls really needed a spark because they'd finished the season very slowly. So on the third play of the game, Matt Grothe went to Joey Johnston for a 25-yard touchdown, and it led to a huge win against Memphis. The Bulls started fast. They needed to start fast. Matt Grothe made sure they started fast.
And number 4, what do you got for us?
Well, number 4 is not really a play, but it was in 2009 at the International Bowl in Toronto, Canada. 2 days before the game, Jason Pierre-Paul and Keon Wilson had a bet who could do the most backflips. And thankfully, somebody from USF Athletics took this video of JPP doing 14 consecutive backflips. He is 6'5", 270 pounds, and he did 14 straight backflips. And I think he just stopped because he got bored. Keon Wilson could only manage 7, but the JPP video went viral
And coming in at number 3, what do we have?
Well, we have our own B.J. Daniels with a huge highlight in the Meineke Car Care Bowl in 2010 against Clemson. Early in the fourth quarter, Jaquez Jenkins returns an interception 48 yards to put the Bulls in scoring position. B.J. Daniels fakes out the defender, runs in from 8 yards for the touchdown that really decided the game.
What have you got for us for number 2?
Number 2 is an incredible game, the Birmingham Bowl in 2016. It went into overtime. South Carolina scored 15 points in the fourth quarter to force overtime, and on the first play of overtime, Quentin Flowers finds Kano Dillon, the tight end, for a 25-yard touchdown, and the Bulls win 46-39.
We made it. Number 1, what do you have?
Number 1, Quentin Flowers, maybe the best player to ever play for USF. The last play of his career, he throws a touchdown pass of 26 yards to Tyree McCants to win the game to beat Texas Tech 38-34. A perfect walk-off moment for the GOAT, Quentin Flowers.
So many awesome, amazing memories in the past, and I'm looking forward to more to come.
Welcome back to USF Bullseye. The Bulls are preparing for their bowl game at Boca Raton against the Syracuse Orange, and here to visit with us a little bit is defensive coordinator Todd Orlando. Coach, you've got some extra practices, you're working some new guys in, getting a lot of good looks at guys preparing for this game. What has it been like with these extra practices and the 2 weeks of preparation that you're getting?
It's great for development. You know, that's the part that we talked about, even going into the Charlotte game. You know, so it's, you know, these extra 12, 14 days are like for guys. I look at somebody like Jarvis Lee. I look at some of these backup guys that if we can gain them another spring practice, it's so valuable. So it's pretty cool to be able to go out there and, you know, at least initially when we first started off, not to be kind of in the heat of battle, that we were able to go in there and slow things down, reteach things, and be able to get guys the fundamentals and techniques that we're looking for, but get them polished up on scheme too. So all these things come into play, making the program very healthy, also having the ability to bring recruits in and they're able to watch practices, which I think is really, really important because they get a chance to, like, it makes you legit. You know, when you're sitting there outside of the bull ring and people are coming into your building and there's really, you know, that aspect you're not able to show them to them. And then also to have a winning record, you know what I'm saying? So you have a chance to get some hardware, have a winning record, and just continue to build on what we're trying to get accomplished here.
Coach, defensively, you know, there's some things you do that are really cool. And, you know, I had the pleasure of doing some research on you and knowing that I played against you when you were at UConn. And it makes sense now when I look at our defense and look at all the different things they do and disguise themselves. Are you working on the same things, or are you tweaking some things just to try to, you know, throw a wrench in there for this game?
Yeah, we do that. So we'll look at the tape. You know, you try to stay in with the core of what the kids know, but there's always little wrinkles that go in based on what they do. So you don't want to make it so overly complex that, because the last thing you want to do is confuse guys. You want them to go out there, play really, really fast and hard. But there's always things that you do when you watch tape that you say, boy, if we stay on in terms of like how we play this, then they're going to take advantage of it. So you have to be able to change things like that just to mix it up. So we'll have enough in the game plan that we can just play fast and hard, but there will always be a little bit of a wrinkle when we go in and against someone's offense.
Gotcha.
Coach, you're coming off a very good defensive effort against Charlotte. Had some good ones early in the season. I know in the middle of the season, maybe some that you didn't think were up to the standard. So as you look at the whole first year to date with this defense, what strikes you about what you guys put on the field and what you need to see to get better?
Yeah, that's a great question. I thought absolutely the craziest roller coaster ride I've been in my career, to be honest with you. I mean, it's, you know, but I think that goes into the, you know, us being here, kind of maneuvering the culture, maneuvering the expectation, and sometimes it's grasped for that week, and then sometimes it can filter off. So I think the more that we do, the more consistency that we have with the players in terms of understanding what AG wants, that we all want, I think that roller coaster will just start to climb this way. But you saw it during the weeks where I didn't anticipate us playing poorly in a couple of the games that we did. There's some like good teams that, you know, matchup wise are difficult, but there was been some times where I felt the matchups were like pretty neutral, that we didn't play well. And that just goes back to like our process, like our preparation, and the day in and day out stuff that we do. And I think that's going to get better as we go into year two, when everybody kind of like can understand what the expectation is, so they don't panic, they don't do things like that. But that's what, you know, But there's been some times where we played really, really well. And but I also think that's part of being a first-year staff. But we get to the point where we're able to get 6 wins, which is really important to be able to extend this, because now, instead of our guys, going home, we get to continue the process of like the day in and day out of football. So it'll get better. I think it'll start to, like, as we go into spring football next year and we go into fall camp, I think there'll be less about like what the expectation and more about, hey, let's go play football and do the things that we're asked to do. So consistency will be the biggest thing for us as we move forward.
Coach, a lot of people talk about offense and what Byron Brown's doing and Sean Atkins, but and their growth and maturity, what they've done throughout the season. But on defensively, I've kind of paid attention to a guy kind of coming to his own, which is Mac Harris, a guy who's been around, been with the program, and starting to make plays and create turnovers. Can you talk about what he's done for this defense?
Yeah, it's Mac has added some, just the consistency of like doing his job at a high level. And I think the one thing that Mac is really good at is Mac is very vocal. So Mac not only knows what he's doing, but he's able to be able to communicate to the guys around him. And I think it gives us a little bit of stability. And like you look at him and playing with Schuler, you know what I'm saying? Where we don't understand the whole thing about Shu is they didn't play very limited plays last year. So now, as he starts to grow, the comfort level with having somebody side by side that's able to talk to him, take a little bit of pressure off of him in terms of all the checks and things that go on to it. And then Mac's got some really unique traits to him. Mac has really good vision. Mac has really good ball skills too. Like he's a guy that played the quarterback position when he was in high school and played some skill positions. So he has that skill set, and I think he's going to get comfortable with the more reps he did. But when we started to play him a little bit more, I thought the consistency level of us, like especially like getting lined up, knowing what the call was, executing the call really, really picked up.
Coach, you have a lot of experience playing against Syracuse back to your days at UConn.
Yeah.
You've seen the Orange a lot. Maybe not recently, but you have a lot of history with them.
Yeah. So
as you study this version of the Syracuse offense, what grabs your eye first? What stands out about what they do?
The physicality. From a schematic standpoint, it's the personnel groupings, it's the formations, it's who has the ball in the backfield. It's unique. When you watch it and you're trying to process, what type of like rhythm the play caller has or what type of things that he likes, they're very multiple. So, when you're not predictable and you're doing, numerous things, it can put some thoughts into your head. I think we're very similar defensively because we'll do a lot of stuff that when you watch us on film, you'll be like, hey, there's a lot to prepare for. And they do the same exact thing. So, but the expectation would be them, to me personally, is to use their size, try to run the football to establish the run game, and then, play action pass, things like that to be able to set up. But they're, especially when you have time during a bowl prep, you have 2 or 3 weeks to get prepared for something. Sometimes it's not what you see on that tape, because when you have time to be creative, when you have time to actually be able to do it, when you're talking about a normal game week, when you have like 3 days to really install, in comparison to maybe 12 to 15 days to install, we're going to see some different stuff. So that's the thing that jumps out at me schematically, is like so many personnel groupings, so many formations, different types of like wildcat looks, certain types of like kind of very much similar to read zone, like triple option looks. So we really have to be on our toes.
One more for you, Coach. You've had a lot of experience in bowl games as a player and as a coach.
Yeah.
We've seen it through the years. Sometimes teams are more ready than others. Teams are more eager than others. What is your general philosophy about the best way to get a team ready to play a bowl game?
Well, I think it's your demeanor, the way that we carry ourselves. Sometimes you get into bowl preps and, it's a little bit loosey-goose, what I'm saying, from a coaching staff. And I think it goes back with our head coach, how he approaches everything. And, when everything to him is do your very, very best. And it's easy for our guys to understand that. But we're in no position to be able to take anybody lightly at this point, especially when we're trying to grow. So I think this is just another opportunity for us. It continues our season, but it doesn't, like, even if we were winning 10 games a year for 15-year stretch, there should be nothing in our head that says we don't prepare for this thing like it's a regular season game. So the part being is since a lot of the guys don't have a lot of experience with these things, it comes down to the staff itself to make sure that when you go out and practice, the practice is buttoned up. You know, the practice isn't loosey-goose. And the closer we get to the holidays, it's always like that, where it's people start to get distracted with things. When we leave to go to the site, you know, they're going to have events for us to be able to do, and you want to enjoy the event. But when it's time in the meeting rooms, when it's time in between the lines, it's got to be business. And like you said, you probably know the very first couple series on who's been working and who's not been working. And you'd hate to be the team that's not working. You always take the assumption that your opponent is doing more than you, so that way when you get out in the field that you're ready. So I don't think it's going to be a huge deal with us just because it's so early in kind of AG's tenure here. So we're like, for us, this is, as much as it's not the expectation to be a 6-6 team and go to a bowl, it is the part of us learning the preparation, so this way we can continue to move forward. So I don't think it's going to be a big issue. Our kids have been very professional, at least in the last couple days that we've been out here, and I think it's like exciting. There's an excitement that goes along with this thing, and to me the biggest thing is those final couple days. When we practice here and then we take off to go to the site, is making sure that we're buttoned up, because that's when a lot of the events, that's when a lot of, hey, you know what, the curfew's at 10 o'clock, you can go around Boca a little bit and do that stuff, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we're there to win the game.
That's defensive coordinator Todd Orlando. USF is preparing to play Syracuse in the Boca Raton Bowl. We'll have much more, so stay tuned for more USF Bullseye.
Okay, Joey, there are a lot of reasons fans should attend a bowl game, and a lot of events, even throughout the week leading up to the game, that fans can enjoy. You've narrowed it down to 5 reasons fans should attend a bowl game. At number 1, what first reason do you have?
Well, when you go to a bowl game, you've got to go to the pep rally, because you never know what you're going to see. You're going to see Rhea Law shaking her green and gold pom-poms. You're going to see former players wearing their letter jackets. You're going to see fans from all over the country, and it's a communal effort. You're going to want to be at that pep rally.
Reason number 2, what do you have?
Well, the one great thing about bowl games is you have matchups you don't normally see. So you're going to find an interesting opponent. And here we have Syracuse, a team we don't play all the time from the ACC, a major conference kind of team. So it's a great opportunity to play a team from a different part of the country and get a great win.
What are you thinking for reason number 3?
Well, it's USF Nation is all together in one place, and it's a chance to sit with your peeps. It's a chance to see people you went to school with, and maybe some people you haven't seen in a long time, and everybody's together at a distant site, a cool site, Boca Raton, trying for one thing, to get that victory. So a chance to socialize with your USF friends.
Number 4, what are you thinking?
Bowl games are more accessible than normal games. So if you hang out, you're going to get a chance to meet players and coaches. You might get some autographs, some pictures. You get to know the guys, and they'll want to get to know you. It's just a fun few days and a chance to really bond with your USF Bulls.
And if fans need another reason to come, at number 5, what do you have?
Raising the trophy. If USF wins, they get to raise the trophy. Now think about it. Unless you win your conference or a national championship, you don't raise a trophy. So here's an opportunity to see your team, the USF Bulls, perhaps raise a trophy. And every time we've seen it in the past, it's been a really special moment. So come on down to Boca Raton and see your Bulls raise a trophy.
I know I can't wait. Thank you so much, Joey.
Absolutely. Let's go to Boca.
We are back here on USF Bullseye. Our guest is offensive coordinator Joel Gordon as the USF Bulls prepare for the Boca Raton Bowl against the Syracuse Orange. Coach Gordon, thank you for joining us. How would you best describe bowl preparation? How do you guys go about it? You got a lot of moving parts, recruiting going on, a lot of things to occupy your mind. How are you guys approaching this 2-week period to prepare for your team?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think growth is the overlying theme, for us on offense. I think you look at all the positions and then their position coaches understanding what we have to do to get better here in this next little chunk of practice that we get. You got an opportunity to look at the season and actually slow it down a little bit. You got a chance to digest it and say, man, we were pretty good here, not so good here. Man, some fundamentals and techniques that we got to sharpen up here in the next month. So I think all the position groups are really doing a good job of focusing on fundamentals. Like, that's where it all starts. You know, we have to be really good fundamentally at every position if we're going to have a chance to be successful. And then you look at the scheme and you figure out how to sharpen, you know, your tools, your bread and butter, and try to figure out some ways to kind of expose some new things maybe to the guys, just to keep them a little, you know, excited and fresh. So I think it's all of it. You know, you look at the scheme, we want to keep getting better and better at what we do the most of, kind of introduce some new things that we might not have gotten to a bunch in the season, and just focus on fundamentals and keeping it really simple.
Coach, you mentioned fundamentals, and one thing I can definitely say I paid attention to, because I love the position quarterback, is the pace of our feet of our quarterbacks. You know, each quarterback has their own rhythm. You know, but I've noticed that, you know, all of our quarterbacks are kind of doing the same thing that I feel like you've taught them. Where did you kind of pull that from as far as your experience coaching the position or even playing?
Yeah, I think, you know, you draw back on what you knew you had to do as a player, you know, and the things that show up on game day that you have to be able to do when the bullets are flying to give yourself a chance to operate in the pass game, whether it's just understanding what drop I'm supposed to be taking for this play or that play. And our guys they've done a good job of understanding that their feet really drive the whole car of playing quarterback. And if they can get their feet correct for whatever we're doing with that play, they're going to have a chance. And the better their feet are, man, the better they're going to be. But when the play breaks down, you know, that's to be able to create more time, extend the play, whether that ends up being in the pocket or out of the pocket. I think that's one thing that Byram did a really good job of in just improving in the course of the season. Maybe there were some times earlier in the year where he's got to move a little bit, his eyes come down, and he takes off a little bit too soon, and you have to take that next step in teaching. And it's hard. Those are hard lessons to learn as a quarterback, because you only get so many live reps. But, man, to keep your eyes down the field, move enough in the pocket and feel the space and stay in there as long as you got space to stay in there, because that's where we want to be able to operate from primarily. But when there's not the space to operate, man, you got to go. And you got to get out of there.
Absolutely.
And, man, I think he just did a really good job of working at it and understanding why it was so important, and just, man, to become a more efficient and a more productive quarterback. So you give him a ton of credit of just being coachable and wanting to understand, man, how can I keep getting better, you know, in this aspect. But, yeah, our feet, they got better as the season went on, but, man, we still got a lot of work to do still.
Absolutely.
You never stop working on the feet.
Coach, when you look at your offense, there's a lot of things that were accomplished. Byram, that we mentioned, 3,000 yards passing. Sean Atkins sets the program record for receiving. You played very fast. You're getting as many plays as anybody in the country. I know coaches aren't going to say, hey, that's perfection, we're good. You've got some things to pick at. But what did you like about the offense this year? And what is your big priority as you, not only for this week, but moving into 2024, that you want to see improved?
Yeah, man, I liked the pace that we were able to play at. You know, I think that it was my first time experiencing it throughout a season, and every single game, man, that's what we're going to do. I was impressed with our players' ability just to keep improving in how it works. You know, when we started this thing up in the spring, man, it was ugly, and they worked really hard through the summer and into training camp. And, man, you get into the season, and nobody on our team has actually been out there and done it before as a group. So you didn't know what it was going to look like, to be honest with you. And you're right, it wasn't perfect, but we give our guys a ton of credit for just not stopping the work, you know, and coming into the building every single day and understanding that we are unique and we are going to go fast, and we're not going to make excuses about, man, the things that are hard about it. We got to keep getting better at it. But I think we cleaned up our efficiency. I think going into next season, man, our detail and everything that we're doing, you know, our communication to winning our one-on-ones, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, everybody's got a job to do on any given play. You're blocking a guy, we got to be better finishing our blocks. You're communicating, we got to be better communicating. We're throwing the football, we're catching the football, getting to your route depth. Our ball security, we got to hammer on, man, big time, because that is something that can get you beat faster than anything. And we played with fire way too much, and it hurt us a ton. And our guys, man, it's not like we were trying to put the ball on the ground or throw interceptions, but there's a lot of moving parts, and we gotta put a premium on taking care of the football heading into the off season and starting with the bowl game. So, you know, that would be, you know, where we got to start. We got to finish in the red zone. We got to get touchdowns when we get down there. Too many times we get down the field 5 or 6 plays, and man, we get inside the 15-yard line and we stall out, and you put it on a field goal kicker, you put it on the offense having to go for it on 4th down, and it's a hard way to live. So we got to be better when we get down there on 1st and 2nd down, and we got to score some touchdowns.
Coach, I've been a part of many QB rooms, and I remember all the guys. You know, the guys that helped me, the guys that didn't help me. You know, and I know you're a record breaker from Shepherd University, so you know your QB room. What is that like? I know the misconception with the community sometimes is you're only coaching one guy,
right?
But you have a room full of young men. Can you talk about that quarterback room?
Absolutely. You know, they've been awesome from the jump. Sometimes I forget, probably, you know, you forget the fact that they're all so young. Mm-hmm. You know, all of them were freshmen other than Gary, you know, going through the season. And you have a high standard and a high expectation, you know, when you get into the season. Yeah. There's a way that you have to prepare, and there's a way that you have to play as a quarterback, you know, for your football team to go out there and have a chance to win games. And you know, when you look at that group collectively, man, they were really mature, you know, for a bunch of young guys to go through the season. And we're not just talking about football. We're talking about having to go to school and do well in the classroom, in the training room, in the weight room, what they're eating. Like, there's a lot of things that these guys have to do on a day in, day out basis. And to be young and have all those things on your shoulders sometimes is really hard, you know, to handle. And I give them a ton of credit for just being mature and working through it. You know, again, it's not always going to be perfect, but to be able to communicate when things aren't awesome and get through it and keep working and asking for help when you need to. But, you know, you look at Bryce and you look at Izzy and you look at Gary, you look at Ryan, they've all been Byram's biggest supporter, you know, throughout the season. And they're awesome in the meeting room. They're a fun group to walk into that room every single day. You know what you're going to get. They really enjoy the work, and that's what it's all about. And that's why, you know, we had a chance to improve throughout the season. But you give that group a ton of credit for not being selfish whatsoever, and really pushing each other and knowing that, man, how many times did Bryce have to throw his helmet on and run on the field this year because something happened to Byram? So you're one play away all the time, or you're 2 plays away when you're the 3rd guy. And I think they did take that to heart, and they really worked to prepare themselves the best that they can. And they also, I think, as the course of the season went on, they're like, man, this is real stuff right here, and this takes a lot of work, and I really have to be focused in my lifestyle and doing all the things the right way. But I give those guys a ton of credit for being just really good teammates.
Absolutely.
That's offensive coordinator Joel Gordon. Stay with us. We'll talk more about the Boca Raton Bowl. It's USF and Syracuse coming up. Stay tuned. We got more ahead for you. Stay tuned to USF Bullseye.
Welcome back to Bullseye. That was a fun episode for us. I know. Hope you guys enjoyed it. One of my favorite segments, I have to say, those top 5 moments in history. I know it was one of your favorites. BJ, we have to get your take. Was it one of your favorites? What do you remember from that moment? Walk us through that play for you.
Yeah, playing Clemson in the bowl game. You know, obviously Dabo Swinney was the head coach at the time, and Clemson was, you know, doing really well in the ACC and just starting to kind of become who they are. And but playing against them and having an opportunity to run a touchdown, little option where I had a chance to fake left and right and score, it kind of put a stamp on us winning that game. They tried to come back at the end, but that definitely was, I think, a play that allowed me to even have the opportunity to even win the MVP of that game as well.
Do you have an all-time favorite memory of your time at USF?
I mean, I have to date it back to Florida State. You know, that always is going to be at the top of the list. You know, a freshman that you know, goes back and plays against a university that didn't believe in him. So to go play against Florida State and win and play there is definitely something that sounds like a fairy tale.
It was a fairy tale, and it's not only BJ's favorite memory. It's among the favorite memories for anybody who follows USF football. Just that whole week leading up to it, and then what happened on the field. You know, we're still living off the memory of that in some respects because it was pretty special.
Yeah, I love it. Also, living off the memory of those 14 backflips.
14.
I think 14.
Yeah, 14.
Is that what it was? My gosh,
Jason
that's wild.
Pierre-Paul,
I grew up dancing competitively my whole life, but like gymnastics was never sort of my thing, and that blows my mind.
Yeah.
And especially when someone that big. Is
Absolutely.
That big, and that's the thing is, you know, we've had a lot of great athletes at USF, but I think there are athletes and then there are athletes. And Jason Pierre-Paul is a special, we may never see the likes of him again, and even in the NFL, he's a cut above with how big and how fast he is. But the thing that made me laugh about the whole thing is, you know, he and Keon Wilson had a dare on who could do the most, and he goes out there and cranks out 14, and it's almost like you just I'm kind of, what else we got to do today?
He just got
bored.
Going.
Yeah, I think he could have.
Just by choice, you know, called it quits then.
Might have gotten dizzy, I don't know, but he had to stop. But it was just like, oh well, whatever, and everybody else was like,
yeah.
And the thing, you know, the thing went viral before people like knew what viral was. I think it was just, I mean, how can you not watch that video and just be like amazed?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can barely do cartwheels, but I mean, this guy's like 6'6", 280. You know, just
wild.
Pumping out backflips. So.
Absolutely wild. Did you ever have like any sort of celebration when you were playing?
I did. I'm not big on the dance moves.
No, but
I wasn't big on the dance moves or anything like that. But I would always, you know, pat my chest twice and point to the sky. You know, just thank God for the opportunity to play football, and at the same time, just remembering the people who helped me, you know, get to each moment that I experienced on the football field.
Do you have a favorite celebration that you've even seen, like in the NFL, any team or anything? Like, does anything stand out to you? Because they make me laugh all the time.
I watched the Dolphins last week with Tyreek Hill, and they were on a roller coaster or something like that.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
Very well choreographed.
Yeah, it's gotten so creative. I mean, you know, when I was growing up, it was, you know, kind of like some guys just spiked it and other guys didn't, and it was kind of like there was a school of thought of people who just act like you've been there before, hand the ball to the official, and now it's become like a theatrical thing, like you're putting on like a one-act play almost in the end zone, something that's been choreographed. And I don't know where this is going in the future, but it is pretty entertaining to see NFL players score and see what have they come up with next. You know, what's this going to be like?
Absolutely. Well, hopefully there are a lot of celebrations going on in Boca. I know I can't wait. I know you guys can't wait. Hopefully everyone watching can't wait, because Boca will be the place to be to watch the Bulls. So excited. So thank you all so much for watching. We've been so happy and so glad to have given you this episode, and we had a blast doing it. So appreciate you all. And as always, points up, go Bulls.